Good morning. So today I'm going to talk about the same thing I talked about on the last video because I've had a lot of comments. I think I stirred up a hornet's nest. So yeah, it's not a simple process of getting a reservation to hike someplace, to camp someplace. And we're going to talk about that today. So first of all, I gave some bad information. Most national parks now have gone to recreation.gov instead of their own system. And in Glacier's old system, you didn't get your money back if you canceled. But now with recreation.gov, your $7 a night camping fee is refundable, just not your reservation fee. So I did get a comment where somebody yelled at me. I think that's what it means when they have all caps telling me to plan ahead. Well, I'm planning ahead with recreation.gov. You can plan ahead 6 months in advance. That's when reservations open. With a lot of states it's 12, but a lot of states are going to letting state residents book a month before out-of-state residents, which doesn't really level the playing field, does it? And so there are so many rules, so many different systems, so many things to learn. There should be a school for how to make a reservation. Now Glacier this year, I just checked it this morning, they have a lottery system. So Buzz Allen made so much money on the wave, now they're rolling it out to other parks. And you'll still have to tell me why that is necessary. So it's kind of like Disney World. You know, if you got the money or you want to spend the money, you can buy a pass at Disney World and you don't have to wait in line with all the peasants. You can go right to the ride, right up front. It just costs you extra money. So now we have this lottery. So for a non-refundable $10 at Glacier, you get to try and win a lottery. And if you're successful, you get to make your permit before everybody else. Now, if that makes sense, then tell me why Buzz Allen isn't going to soon have a lottery with a $10 non-refundable fee to give you a chance to be in the pool to win a lottery that gives you a chance in the pool to get a permit. It's gambling. It's a casino. They've turned it into a casino. Another comment I've had are the fact that the government either doesn't have the money. They can just print more money. They do it for everything. To build an IT system and a staff to run their own system and, you know, keep the money. But then I guess you're right. They would have to hire people and maybe give them a retirement someday. So maybe it's too complicated even to have somebody build you a system and then you run it. I'm not going to argue with that. I don't know what the numbers would be with that. But in that same train of thought, is it that complicated to run a dry campground, no hookups, just a flat piece of real estate where you set up your tent, set up your camper? They're concessioning all that out. And so then the concessionaire, he really doesn't have to do too much. There's no utilities there. And he doesn't even have to book it. He just hires recreation.gov to do that for him. So, again, you're going to have to explain to me why the National Park Service can't run their own campgrounds, their own parks like they used to, and take in more money than what's going out to all these concessionaires. And back to the person that told me to plan ahead. I'm planning ahead 6 months in advance with recreation.gov. I'm planning 12 months in advance with any parks or states that I can do in advance. And I'm still not getting anything. Everything's full. So here's another example of this system. In Glacier, mini glacier campground in Swift Current Valley. I know it like the back of my hand. I've been going there 60 years. So I'm on my computer the day reservations open. Not the day reservation open, the second that reservations open. I know the site I want. I've got it all pulled up there. I'm just waiting for the clock to tick off the right second for me to push the button. And I push it and it's full. So I asked my friend who was a campground host there, what did I do wrong? I mean, I hit the button at the precise moment and it's already booked. And he said, oh, you're not on the atomic clock. I have to be on the atomic clock to get a campsite a year in advance. Yes. So, I'm old, okay? I don't understand all this stuff. I do understand simple math. Multiply numbers, divide resources. So, again, I answered somebody with the question, Soylent Green? Go watch that movie. It was way ahead of its time, but back when I saw it, I thought it was pretty far out. And now it's all coming to reality. So this is the age of artificial intelligence. And Boz Allen must be an expert at that. So instead of hiring people to build systems and create script for lotteries, they should be creating scripts for people to check in 5 days before their trip and say they're still coming. And if they don't check in, they lose their permit. How simple could that be? A lot simpler than a lottery. I've actually been asking people at Glacier, superintendents, probably the last 3, why they couldn't do that with their own system. And the answer always was in the beginning that people didn't have access to the internet. Well, then it got to a point where that's the only way you could make a reservation at Glacier. So obviously people do. But still, no check-in. And now it'd be so easy with artificial intelligence. The systems they build, all you'd have to do is build a script. And on your reservation, if you haven't checked in 5 days before, you get canceled. That would open up so many sites in Glacier. And I haven't even touched on the point of trying to get through the Smokies on the AT, trying to get through parts of like the John Muir Trail on the PCT. That's pretty much been figured out with the park systems. But Glacier and probably Yellowstone are a problem. You know, when I did it, there were 4 of us. Now there's probably 1,000 or more every year. And to my knowledge, I've been telling Glacier for 10 years that they're going to have a problem because these trails are getting very popular. And their answer to me always has been, we don't owe anybody a permit. But people are coming, and they're going to keep coming, and they're not going to stop. So they're going to have all kinds of law enforcement issues up there. So they've got to come up with a plan. But as far as I know, they've still failed to do that. And so it's like the planet's being overrun by lemmings, and we are the lemmings. So I guess these systems are going to have to be tweaked so they work as well as they can. So I really don't have any answers, and I really don't want to argue about whether it's a good system, a bad system, a necessary system. I'm just saying it's a system, And like my advice in the last video, you'd better learn the systems, and you'd better learn all the rules, all the booking rules, all the cancellation rules, all the different systems you need to use, because you know, I've been going to Glacier for 60 years and people are always asking me, how do I do this? And I can't tell them anymore. You need a permit to drive over going to the Sun Highway. And a lot of people think that means you can drive up there and park and hike the Highline Trail, but you can't, because that parking lot, as big as it is going to be full when you get there, unless you start really early. And that permit, a lot of people think that permit gives you a parking space. It doesn't. It just gives you the option to drive across the highway. So you'll run into a ranger up there or a volunteer who will be waving you on off the other side of the mountain down into East Glacier, St. Mary's. And you won't be hiking that day. So you need a permit to park up there? No, there is no such thing. It's just a permit to drive over the highway. And those permits are hard to come by. So you also need a permit. Last time I was there, you needed to get a reservation to get on a shuttle bus. You need a reservation to get in the campground. I'm not sure if you need a reservation to use the outhouse or not, but it's coming. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Multiply numbers, divide resources. You got to figure out how to deal with it. That's what I'm doing. Keep smiling. These two blue racers crawled out from under a platform overlooking the Manistee River along the North Country Trail in Michigan last spring. They just wanted to make love in the sunshine. Then they noticed this old backpacking pervert watching them. There's no gallantry here. The male hauled butt as soon as he noticed me. I just made the slightest move reaching for my camera, and he took off. Awareness, I guess, is key to survival. So much for ladies first.